slow and steady. Seahorse. Seahorses are not built for fast swimming. By the way, on the contrary, they are champions of staying still. If a seahorse were to move at its maximum speed, it would take about 30 minutes to cover a distance equal to the length of a human hand. Most fish have a fin that acts as a propellant and propels them forward. Instead, seahorses have two long tails rounded at the end and are more suitable for catching seaweed than for swimming. Their small dorsal fin provides the propulsive force of these strange aquatic animals. Seahorses prefer to travel short distances and are always camouflaged next to seaweed. Seahorses are strange in many ways. They swim upwards, have a flexible neck, and hold their head at a right angle to the body. There are no scales on the surface of seahorses. Instead, their skin is covered with numerous small bony rings. These needlefishes have tiny mouths and can only feed on small animals that live around seaweed. A seahorse's thin, quivering dorsal fin must provide all the propulsive force it needs to swim. This dorsal fin, which hardly moves in most fishes, moves from side to side in seahorses about 40 times per second. However, the resulting force is not very significant. In addition to the dorsal fin, seahorses have a pair of small fins behind their heads, which they use to determine their direction and control their movement in the water. Male seahorses are fully responsible for taking care of the eggs and giving birth to tiny seahorses. The female seahorse lays the eggs in her mate's abdominal pouch for the father to fertilize them and keep the young seahorses in his pouch even after they hatch and grow up. When the baby seahorses are big enough, they will leave the father's abdominal pouch and terminate his pregnancy. The world's slowest seahorse is the pygmy seahorse, which lives in the Bahamas. The most sticky animal in the world. Hagfish. When this eel feels threatened, it secretes a slimy substance from about 200 pores on its body to surprise predators and make them run away. Predatory fish often avoid approaching hagfish. Because the slimy and sticky substance of hagfish can enter the water in their lungs and make breathing impossible for them. This fish is one of the carrion eaters of the deep ocean and digs up the corpses of whales to reach their meat. The slimy substance that the hagfish secretes will expand rapidly in the vicinity of water. The final product of this substance is a vicious and slimy substance that sticks to everything around it and scares predators away. Hagfish has a round mouth instead of a jaw, which moves forward and backward with the help of a hard cartilaginous plate. On this cartilaginous plate, 2 rows of triangular teeth are used to hook the meat and tear it from the carcass, just like when you grate meat. Hagfish's body is so flexible that it can tie itself. The lack of a backbone in these aquatic animals, their round mouth, and the volume of their body fluids, which is higher than the average of other animals, give this unique ability to hagfish. They deliberately knot themselves to occupy a larger space and take larger pieces of meat in their mouths when they move through the burrowed corridors inside the carcass. Although hagfish is similar to eels, it cannot be considered a close relative because it lacks a backbone. Hagfishes often live in the deep ocean, and in their habitat, they can easily access the carcasses of dead animals and aquatic animals that die and fall to the depths. The deadliest animal in the world. Anopheles mosquito. Only one bite of this tiny insect is enough for a person to suffer from the deadly disease of malaria. As you know, the cause of this disease is a microscopic parasite that infects the victim's blood. This parasite is transmitted to humans and other animals through the Anopheles mosquito, which lives in all tropical regions. It is interesting to know that the male mosquito only feeds on the nectar of flowers, and it is the female that spreads malaria worldwide due to the need for blood to form its eggs. When this mosquito bites a person to suck his blood, it will transfer Plasmodium or malaria parasite to the victim's body. When the female Anopheles mosquito sits on the human body, it sinks its bite into the human skin and tries to dilute the blood and make it easier to flow with the help of the saliva it has injected into the human body. The secreted saliva can contain parasites that have matured in the mosquito's stomach wall. The salivary glands of each Anopheles mosquito can contain 200,000 Plasmodium or malaria parasites. Anopheles mosquitoes search for food at the same time as it gets dark. For this reason, the effect of their bite is not easily visible, and this effect disappears within a few minutes. These mosquitoes often fly close to the ground at a low altitude and target the human ankle and its surroundings. Malaria symptoms appear after 7 to 14 days, and more than 665,000 deaths from this disease are reported annually.